Welcome to the Vault podcast, everybody.
Hello.
Dan,
Hi.
just look straight ahead. Jess is with us on the phone. By the way, if you're listening to this podcast, Dan and I are...
We've been separated.
We've been separated, and Jess is with
terrible.
us on the phone. Dan, just look into the camera and pretend that's me.
Hi, me.
No, me.
Oh, hi, Dave.
No,
Oh, and Jess is in my ears.
Jess is in your ears.
I
So,
always
I'm
think...
just looking out the window at the trees, pretending they're you guys.
oh, lovely.
Which tree am I? Describe my tree.
No, you know what? I don't want to hear Dan as a tree. What do we need to talk about is if you're watching this on YouTube, though, or one of our video platforms, then you will be seeing Dan and I on a split screen, and you'll be hearing Jess.
We couldn't be any more safer.
Exactly. We really couldn't. And in this time of isolation, we're as isolated as we possibly can be. Oh, amazing. Well, welcome everybody. It's so good to have you. This is going to be a short episode. We just really wanted to give a bit of an update on what we're doing as Hillsong Kids. We're not going to do questions today. We're not going to do a lot of the usual format. We're just going to really talk about our response to the whole epidemic. But the one thing we definitely need to do, Dan, is get Terry and salute.
Oh, I think I've got him somewhere in my house. Hang
Come on.
He's over here.
Grab him.
There he is.
All right.
Oh my goodness, it
Now-
just wouldn't be right. It wouldn't
There
be
he
right
is. There he is.
without that.
There he is. He is. Terry's with us. Terry, would you bless this podcast?
Oh, he did a backflip.
He
He
did.
did a double backflip. He is...
Oh my goodness.
Wow, he knew you were saluting, Jess.
He did.
Saluting the trees.
So sorry, Terry can't really stay on video because...
There he is.
Or can he?
I don't know.
No, I don't think it's going to work.
Does that look alright at HQ?
No, I don't think it's looking good.
Okay.
On the split screen, it's not looking great. I am in our... Behind me is a big yellow background, which is the backgrounds that we've been using to live stream our services. And that's and that's pretty much how we've been doing all of our locations that have been live streaming. I think we need to do a bit of an update. The last time we did a podcast, we were at Colour Conference. Do you remember those days, guys?
Everything
Oh,
was
remember
wonderful.
that when we were together?
We were together.
That
We
was
were
beautiful.
overlooking Sydney. It was lovely. Those episodes have gone up. And since then, we really haven't had the time to make a new episode because we've been frantically trying to figure out how to do church in this pandemic. So we are now feel like we had the space to do this. Jess is not with us, but I thought let's just film something and let's get her on the phone and see if we can talk a little bit about what we've been doing. So it's been that long since Colour Conference. Everything that we've done is pretty much shut down. I would say the week after conference, wasn't it, Jess?
Yeah, it was. Well, we recorded it. Yeah, we recorded at Colour,
Yep.
and
colour
then during Colour 2, all the announcements happened, and basically Colour was like the last
one. Hurrah.
public
It was, yes.
event in Australia, and then that Sunday we announced that we were not going to be doing services in our building specifically, but we were going to be going online, which I remember, it was so funny because I remember filling up my ute with like just random equipment from church because I was like, oh, well, maybe I can still do like Sunday night open house at my home and still have people over. So I want to have toys for kids and,
Right.
you know, like frantically
How'd
running
that
around
work
grabbing
out?
everything before we
Because-
get the building. And then realised, that's not going to work either. So it's just funny. That's kind of set the tone. Every 2 days, things have changed
Yes,
since
true.
then, but now we seem to have settled into a rhythm over the last probably week and a half of kind of, you know, bunkering down and understanding that this is the way that it's going to be for a little while.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it started out as no gatherings over 500, and then went down to indoors as 100, and then it's gone down to a couple of days later went down to 2.
Yeah.
No more than
Yeah.
2
I think
people
we're
or something like
in
that.
Australia we're at 5 right now if you're having a funeral or something like that. Is it 5?
Right.
Anyway, pretty much after that last episode, everything has changed. So
Yep.
we're here to talk just a little bit for a few moments. We're going to give a bit of an overview of what we've been doing as Hillsong Kids because I think that would help other people. We've been learning from a lot of our friends around the world about what they're doing, but we've also done an approach that we've really felt has worked for us as a church. I will say this. We are looking to put together a major live stream event with a bunch of our friends from around the world to be talking with what they're doing. So this is a short kind of almost intro to what could hopefully be a longer conversation. So hopefully in the next week or so, we're going to put together a big online event. So stay tuned for that. If you're not following us on Instagram, Hillsong Kids, definitely do that.
You should be.
You should be doing that. I'll put
What
up.
else is there to do?
I'll be putting up some notifications on there on our YouTube channel. This YouTube channel, Hillsong Kids Plus. Also our main. Look, it'll be as long as you're in following our social media, you'll be able to see any kind of event we'll have coming up that will involve talking about ministry in the time of pandemic. So, having said that, let's talk about what we are doing. First of all, let's break it down with midweek and then weekend services. So starting with weekend, because that's something I think we've really got underway and a really fine-tuned way of doing that.
Just before we start, a quick praise report.
Oh, yes.
Ever since we moved to online, we've had perfect leader-to-kid ratios.
Yeah.
We've always had enough leaders.
It's been really good.
Wow.
Thank you.
First time ever.
And they're not burning out. It's great.
Yeah.
Like everyone's pretty relaxed.
So we do hope we have teams when we start up again. And that's one of the things we'll talk about a bit later on for the midweek thing, is making sure we connect with our teams. But here's what we decided as a church. Our church currently does, now we're just talking Australia here. We have Hillsong churches all around the world, and in some way we're helping them. But when I'm talking about what we're doing, it's in Australia. Now, in Australia, we have 11 services currently. So Hillsong Church will put on 11 live stream services across the weekend. And those are mainly pre-recorded. Pastor Brian will do a message. I think they're all... Would it be fair to say they're all pre-recorded, Jess? Yes?
What was that, sorry?
Would it be fair to say that all of our adult services are pretty much pre-recorded? Was that fair to say?
Yeah, pretty much.
So we will. Pastor Brian will film a message. There'll be some praise and worship recorded, but it's all in a sense prepared during the week and then released at 11 different time slots across the weekend. Now the reason we did that was because we really want our people in our church to stay going to the same service that they have done. So that's the idea.
And then those services have like live interaction with chat rooms and prayer, submitting prayer requests. And a lot of those live pastoral elements are happening, which is really cool.
Now those, and also, live chat, pastors that are on the chat, pastors are answering prayer requests and praise reports. There's very much focused teams around each one of those events. It's not like they just run and nobody watches them from our own staff. No, that's what staff are doing on the weekends and pastors are doing. So that is also, there's lots of things happening around that. So all of our locations around Australia, they are still doing PSGs, pre-service meetings. Is that what they're called?
Pre-service gatherings.
They're crew gatherings at the moment.
Ooh,
gathering the crew together. That's what we've called it.
And some of those, depending on what location you're at, one of our location pastors might run that with all of our key volunteers or team, or people may jump on with that. And those might be run through Zoom. I will say this, all of our streaming is done via YouTube. So we've pretty much committed to YouTube in connection with our own platform. Our IT department put together a platform which kind of interacts well together. We don't use the live chat in YouTube. We use it on our own platform. Yeah, it's just a little less messy, I'd say that. There is... So when I'm talking about these pre-service gatherings, they might be on Zoom or any other kind of... Who knows what they're doing. That's just up to a location to kind of figure out what works for them and their people. But I think a lot of them would be meeting on Zoom. Now... So we as a ministry said, well, here's the thing. If parents are going to be meeting in the same service time that they traditionally do on a service, on a Sunday, then what we're going to do is we're going to provide, as we always do at Hillsong Kids, we're going to provide something while the adult service is on. So all we've said is, whenever there's a Hillsong Church service, there will be something for children, and that was our commitment. It's a very intense commitment, as it's turned out, and we've almost achieved that. But we've created something that pretty much says to parents, if the kids are awake, there's going to be something available for them. So what we started doing was every single service we would 15 minutes before the service time. So for example, if it was the 9:30 service, we would jump onto our live stream video and chat with the kids, have a game time with them, and then the service would start and we would do a whole program for them. We started doing that in our Hills location, in a big one of our rooms with about a dozen people on there in the room. Since that, we've changed quite a bit.
Dave and I did 9 services on a Sunday. Which was fun.
So
oh, it was so funny.
And so that was our first couple of weekends. We pretty much got a big team together, and we had technology filling the room. We had a lot of people on site.
Which was in line with the restrictions at the time.
Yes. Since then, it's changed, and we've had to really pare back what we're doing or change it in a way that hopefully still reaches the kids' needs. So, since that time, the yellow background that they can see behind me, we got a bunch of those printed, and we sent them around to some key staff houses around Australia. And so, for example, Jess has got one of these set up in her house, and we sent cameras to everybody, and as much as possible, we've created a same look across all of our live stream services. Now, these are not pre-recorded. There are only portions of it that are pre-recorded. But what we decided to do was, in order to help our kids engage, we wanted to be live with them. We wanted to be there, playing a game with them, responding to their comments, interacting with them as safely as we possibly could. Because there's nothing, I think, for a kid is just to sit down and watch a video is okay, but to have them engage at that greater level, I think is really, really powerful. So
yeah, it's been amazing, and that's what Hillsong Kids. That's who we are. Like, we are very relational, and we're very connected. And I remember back in the early days, if a visiting kids pastor might come, they would, realize that the thing that our strength was our connection and relationship.
Right.
And, even if back then we had, terrible facilities and equipment and and some, interesting ways of doing things, we've always been connected from the start, and we're very highly relational. So I think that's kind of core to who we are, and that's why that's the top priority.
Absolutely.
For this season.
Absolutely. With so many services, sometimes it's there are so many services that we have and so many kind of little teams all around. It's a great opportunity to actually have relationships between kids and leaders and have them known when they come into church.
I think it's a really good point, Dave. YouTube did a big change from about 4 years ago, where everyone was focusing on making amazing, beautiful, incredible videos, and then live streaming started becoming more popular too, because people started realizing that people wanted to connect with people. So even if you look at, say, Dude Perfect, for a great example, they're all about the trick shots, but now they've got like battles, and they have a talk show, and and you actually get to know the 5 characters and a panda.
Yeah.
So that's why, even though the quality of the live stream won't be as good as a highly polished TV show that we could do every week, and bend over backwards to get that, we're finding there's much more engagement having 2 people on a set in a house, playing a live Kahoot with someone, than a live polished production. And
it's leveled the playing field. If you look at the big American talk shows, late night talk shows like Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, Stephen Colbert, people like that, they've all been forced to record from home. And some of the videos are just awful. Their audio's bad. Their quality has dropped massively, because those were guys who were used to having 100 people on to make them look good and sound good. Now they've had to do it at home. Over the last few weeks, they've slowly been getting better. A good example is, I think, Seth Meyer from America. He kept trying different locations in his house, and he was in a corridor for one episode, and it was just so echoey and bad. So it's a good example of no longer... Kids have always been like this, but as long as the personality is there and the connection is there, you don't need to have the greatest video in the world. We are filming with good equipment. Let's just say that. We've got the best equipment we have. The microphones we're talking into are hundreds and hundreds of dollars. The cameras are thousands of dollars, but it's not... We've tried to, as much as possible, keep that quality. And I will say this, for you guys live streaming at home, it's more about the audio than the video sometimes. Bad audio will kill it. Like, it's hard talking to Jess right now on a phone, because it's hard. It's not quite the level that you would want it to be. So you can tell the difference. Listening to Dave and Dan and Jess on a phone is a big difference in communication. So Dave, always have good audio.
It would be very good at the end, or maybe in a separate video, if you did a little tech basic setup. Other medium setup and more high setup. We obviously have
So you're just giving me some work to do, Dan, is that what you're doing?
Well, so we've got some more expensive stuff because we have other uses for it. I don't think if we were starting out, we would buy this.
No.
We film, obviously, lots of things, but there is definitely a basic setup. For probably $500, you could get something just as good, just as top quality.
Absolutely. Thank you for more work, Dan. That's great.
Yes. Well, we've got to do something, Dave.
We do need to do something. Okay, so that's what we're doing right now. Every service that adults are at, we are doing a live service. Now, that service is pretty much hanging out with kids at the beginning for the first 15 minutes. I've been playing video games. Jess, you've been playing. What have you guys been doing in your live streams? At the beginning. Jess, are you still there?
Yeah.
They did eat a chocolate egg quickest. That was pretty fun.
You've done, so what have you...
Mouth guard challenge. That was really funny.
So we've all been playing to our strengths.
Bringing your pets into church.
Yes, bringing a chicken on live stream. That's great, but it's awesome. It's great content.
Both of you really hit a jackpot on the weekend. Both of you brought your kids in and hosted with your kids at one point, and that was a lot of fun.
It's great. So we divide up our 9 services at the moment. We don't quite do 11 like church, but we're talking Friday night, Saturday night, and then 7 on Sunday from 8 in the morning till 9 at night. Now, the reason we go till 9 at night is because over on the west coast of Australia is Perth, and they are 3 hours behind us, or 4 hours?
2 at the moment.
2 at the moment. So there's
there were 3 last week.
We are in our own country dealing with different time zones. Now,
it's a large country.
So is there anything else we need to talk about the live streams? Yes. Anything else you would like to highlight?
No, I think we covered it all. It's been great. Well, I guess just the mechanisms, like we're praying for kids live. I don't know if you mentioned that. So they're submitting praise reports and prayer requests via our Hillsong Kids app. And it's been amazing to see kids pastors respond to those straight away, like on the weekend, and then us also being able to pray for kids by name and situation live on air has been so cool. And there's the shout outs of, being able to do shout outs through our Instagram feed. So we've got a whole team of kids pastors behind the scenes who are taking those prayer requests or those comments on Instagram and plugging them into a live spreadsheet that we as hosts can see the requests as they come in, which is really, really fun and that's what makes it feel connected.
Let's talk about those 3 things you mentioned: the app, the interaction, and the pastors who are around us. So the 2 hosts on screen, usually 2 hosts, mostly married couples at the moment because it's at people's houses. We are there talking to the camera. There is a team working behind the scenes. Our other pastors are rostered on to take care of things like the comments. So we don't do comments because YouTube doesn't allow that for children's channels. So what we do is we always post on Instagram a service time post, and we encourage all of our families to jump onto the latest Instagram post and write in shout outs for their kids. Obviously, kids do not have Instagram because you have to be 13. And of course, none of your kids would have Instagram under 13, right?
Definitely not.
Nope. But so we say parents' accounts, and this is great because already it's a pre-existing account that is covered by a privacy policy, Instagram's privacy policy, and it's very helpful working with that system. So they will post comments. Now, there will be staff there taking those comments, posting them in, and then sending them to the host via a Google document, and it just updates automatically. So that means the hosts don't have to worry about looking up the Instagram and refreshing it and looking for comments and stuff like that.
And losing track.
Instagram does some very weird things with comments. They don't necessarily put it in the time that was received.
The order, yes.
In the order, so we have someone do that, and then they can highlight specific things like birthdays, for example.
Yes. So the app is in tandem with that. We launched a Hillsong Kids app. Now, again, I feel like the Lord was just preparing us because we had been practicing live streams last year, and we also had been getting this app in preparation. So that app was fast-tracked. We now have a Hillsong Kids app, and we tell kids, download that with your parents, and then there is a chat with us link. Chat with us, and then there's a bunch of things you can do. Tell us something you're thankful to God, or thank you God, something you want to ask God for. I made a decision to follow Jesus connection point, but our app is our key way of connecting with our kids if they do something like even have birthdays. So there'll be team and staff dedicated to making sure that that content is being responded to straight away. So if they do, we do get a contact about something they're thanking God for or something they're asking God for, not only will we pray for it online on the video, we'll also pray for it and respond via email. I think it's via email, is it? Or anyway, I've never done it. I've only done the hosting, but that response is then we will get back to those parents and say, hey, we prayed for you, and can I pray for you again? That kind of thing. That were the three things I wanted to say, was that, the app, and
and we also have the same thing for Decisions for Jesus.
Yes.
If children are praying that prayer that's online, we encourage them to let us know via the app.
Yeah.
And we've had some great conversations out of that.
And what
the virtual raising of a hand.
and what we're looking to do with our decision, just so you know, what we're currently working on is we're putting together basically a salvation video. One of our team, Dan Buckle, is putting together a video now, because what we want to do is make the invitation open to kids, but you also want to cover a little more. If it's just a prayer to follow Jesus, I feel like we need to give kids a little more information, a little more context. So the idea is we will always give the invitation on the live stream, but what we are developing is, hey, by the way, if you'd like to know more about Jesus, click the link in the description. That'll take them through to a more thorough salvation video, which explains it a little more further, gives them a little more depth, gets their parents involved so that their parents can pray the prayer with them. So at the moment, we're currently making that, boosting our salvation system, I guess, making it a little stronger.
A little update on that salvation video, David.
Yes.
I was editing it and my entire computer crashed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but don't worry, it was saved.
It was saved. Thank you, Dan. Jess is completely silent. Don't even... Yeah. Dan did a joke.
It's because I can't hear Dan very well.
Oh, it's right. Yes,
right.
The phone is kind of closer to me than Dan. Well, okay. So Dan, don't feel bad. It wasn't a bad joke. It was terrible.
I also need to do an awkward fact check.
Hey, by the way, Dan.
Yes.
That joke wasn't bad. It's like toilet paper. It was terrible.
It was terrible.
Okay.
It's also in short supply. Quick fact check, David. I don't know when to bring this up, but we do 11 services out of the 11. At Hillsong Kids, we don't do 9.
We actually do 11.
We do 9 on Sunday, and we do this Friday and Saturday night. So we do all 11.
Oh, yeah, we do too.
I only thought we did 9. Okay, so those are split up all around Australia, and as we said, our team and our staff are all rostered onto different services, so there'll always be a strength behind the hosts. Okay, so those are the 3 main things I wanted to talk about the live stream. And again, if you'd like to know any further details, how do they get in touch with us, Dan?
They email us at thevault@hillsong.com.
Thevault@hillsong.com.
Haven't said that for a while.
I know, you forgot there for a moment, didn't you?
I did.
You actually forgot.
Oh, God.
I'm used to saying hillsong.com/online.
So let's talk about midweek for just a little bit, because we're trying to figure out what to do midweek. Obviously, there's a lot of things we don't have to do anymore, like prepare our teams for the weekends and a lot of a lot of things we don't have to do.
Don't have to buy crackers.
We don't have to buy crackers. Now, but I do want to talk about, I guess, the things that we are doing. So maybe, Jess, kick us off with the idea about our little daily things on Instagram.
Yeah, so I guess, this is kind of going into a dark place right now, but one of our pastoral team, said to me, if there's ever a time where people are going to struggle with their marriages or with domestic violence, it's going to be now, because kids are in homes, and even kids with parents who don't have great life skills now don't get the reprieve of going to school to have, to just feel safe and to feel connected and in community. So that's a very dark little thought. But it's through things that we do midweek, we can provide little bits of reprieve for parents and for kids to get them focused on what they're part of that's bigger than just where they're at the moment in their home. So we've been doing daily things. Worship Wednesday is one of those things where we're doing a ministry prayer moment with some worship songs. And then we've got big word challenges. So basically we're trying to put something out there every day that has a little challenge or a little bit of a practical thing kids can do to connect with each other or connect with God. And trying to make sure that we're breaking up the week in that way and reminding them that we're there for them, we love them, and trying to keep that bit of normality in keeping kids active, you know.
Yes.
So I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what we didn't want to do, I guess, was look, it's a very tricky thing not to add to the noise because there's so much options out there for kids. There's not a lack of content. There are fitness
Not at
people.
all.
There are people who have gone. Dan, what was our little fitness friend that you would do?
PE with Joe. He's a guy that had a fitness channel. Maybe he had 500,000 subscribers, and then started doing a daily fitness class for kids and families. And he's grown to 2 million subscribers. He has about 4 million people watch it every day, and
so there you go.
And do a fitness thing. But I think the important thing about this is because your routines have been completely disrupted. Actually, building positive new routines and daily disciplines is the important thing. So doing a little, going for a walk each day, but then having a routine that every day you check the Instagram and you do what's on there, or you do the devotional that we've been sending out. We're just giving people options.
So some of those things, as Dan said there, Worship Wednesday, we're going to be starting something. We're starting something on the weekends for our kids called Tribes, which means every service will be in a different tribe. So our biggest services will be in Tribe Honor or Tribe. What are some of the tribe names, Dan? Tribe
Courage,
Strength, Courage,
Valor.
So we're starting things like that. Now that's going to lead into the weekend into the midweek where we'll put out challenges for those tribes and we'll do points. It's another way to connect midweek with the weekend. But it's a tricky line because we want to, again, you want to do something that's a win. It's nothing worse than putting out a challenge on Instagram and getting no entries. That's really depressing. So you want to do something that is actually going to interact really well with the kids. And if it builds onto what you're doing in the weekend, that is a big, big win. So, for example, if we are going to do a challenge, you might as well make it tie in with the tribes on the weekend, because then they'll want to come back and see how many points their tribe scored for that challenge. So that's connecting the two things. The other thing that we're looking at doing midweek is, and again, you can follow along and check out any of this because it's all on our Hillsong Kids Instagram. We've kind of devoted ourselves to one platform and put a lot of energy and attention into that one Instagram platform rather than dividing our strengths across a lot of them. The other thing is we're going to be doing a guided devotional that we're just finishing putting together, which means it's not so much about, hey, here's what the Bible says. No, it's giving kids a time frame to guide them through the devotion. The content is irrelevant. It could be any content, any Bible verse, but we're trying to help guide them through doing devotions. So it's not just saying, hey, here's a Bible verse, read it and write something down. No, it's actually guiding them through that. So we're looking at doing things like that. Let's talk about the things that our teams are doing around our local locations, Jess. So, for example, I was just talking to some of our pastors, and the things that we're doing there are definitely, as Easter's happened, we delivered a lot of packs to our families and our houses.
Some of our staff it took them 3 days to do a mail out because we couldn't just smash it out with 20 volunteers in one afternoon. It took them 3 days to mail out, but we managed to get a Easter pack to every household with, stickers and crafts and a devotional journal that lasts 2 weeks and a letter explaining how to get online. And so that was it sounds so basic, a mail out, but that was a big deal to pull that off.
If you start an assembly line with 6 feet apart from each person, it makes it quite difficult.
I'm getting messages. Totally, Dan. My phone may get messages. I don't know how to turn. Can I turn it onto silent for Jess?
Do not disturb.
Oh, yeah, but you're on the phone. Can I do not disturb if you're on the phone?
Well, she's not disturbing
I think
you.
so.
Okay, she's not. All right, I'll turn it on silent.
Okay.
So we did,
and then we had team going to houses and just dropping off Easter eggs at the door, knock and run style, which was pretty cool. But the team really focused on kids who had been having pastoral care support already, so kids that had gone through some kind of trauma or divorce or illness. So we focused on those kids first, and then our Connect Group active, our families that are part of Connect Groups or small groups, we focus on them because it's more about what we can do, and not just going, oh, but if I can't get eggs to every household, then I shouldn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
The team would just like, oh, who can we get to? We know that the addresses will be accurate for our Connect group families,
Yes.
so let's do them. Let's do our pastoral care kids because they need encouragement, and some of our smaller locations manage to get to everybody, which is cool. But
yeah. You still there, Jess? I might have lost her. So, well, if Jess may come back, but that idea of focusing and targeting some of our what do you call it, objectives. So, for example, we did I printed out all of the attendees from 2019 till now. So we're narrowing down not just our whole database. We can do that by, as Jess said, what was it? Connect groups. If your Connect group, if your small group in our church, we can see that group of kids and families. So we're saying they are much more connected into church. We definitely know that they're going to live at that house. So let's deliver these things. And so we're segmenting out our demographic of kids. It's not just one big thousands and thousands of kids, because some of the kids on our roll, let's be honest, maybe they came once with their family, but they haven't returned. Maybe they've moved. So we segmented those down. Jess, are you still? Oh, hang on. I think I've got an idea. I think, Jess, we may have lost Jess.
Jess says she can't hear.
Okay, there we go. Jess, I think you're back with us.
I am.
There you are. No, you dropped off Bluetooth, so you're back in. Sorry, I thought I'd lost you, but you're back with us now. So I was just saying, we kind of segmented out our roles there, so we can target what we want to do for each group of kids.
Yeah, that was big. We even restructured our staff and our focuses because it's a whole different world, and so much of what we do can be maximised when we work to our strengths. So we tried to give a framework with our staff across Australia, our staff and key volunteers, so that they could lean into the different areas that are ministry now in this season, not just ministry before, because everything's changed.
Yeah.
So that's been really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So and the one thing we really want to do, one of the things I was talking to Corinne, one of our team, and she's sending personalised video messages to kids. So she'll record a birthday message and then text it to the parents and say, "Hey, show this to your child. It's their birthday today." That's a really nice.
Yeah.
That's a really nice thing to be doing, because again, we always want to
really
highlight
cool.
birthdays. So. So look, we've been talking. We've done pretty good. We've got a few minutes. I think we're going to wrap it up now. The other thing, I guess putting a bit of a cap on all of this, if you have any questions, you need to email us at thevault@hillsong.com.
We're still part of your team.
We're still part of your team. You're part of our team.
Yeah, we are.
This is a little bit different. We're still planning on doing the Vault's not going anywhere. We may have to figure out how to do it in the future with Jess in the room as well. I don't know how, but we'll figure that out. Because it's nice to be honest, any kind of human contact at the moment is nice. So thank you so much. We are going to
leave you with a quote.
John
Dan Wooden. I don't know who John Wooden is. It says, "Just do the best you can. No one can do more than that."
There you go. So whatever you're doing in your local situation, wherever you are with your team, no matter how big or how small, there are personalized touches that every single leader can do right now to help your kids through this and also connect with your kids. So any questions, please send them through to us. We really want to answer your specific questions about what you want to know that we're doing. We'll answer those in a future one. We may even do that live stream with a whole bunch of people from around the world if we can organise it. Stay tuned to what we're doing. Subscribe to the channel. Like the video. Say goodbye, Jess.
See ya. Bye, guys.
See you later, everybody.